talk a little bit about what went into the decision to end up waiving Omri and how that all kind of came about.
Yeah, it was. It actually wasn't a difficult decision because he was injured, but it was difficult to go ahead and go through with it because he's been with us all season long, and we love Omri and what he brought to the team. Great teammate, but it was difficult to go ahead and go through with it because he's been with us all season long, and we love Omri and what he brought to the team. Great teammate. It was difficult to sit with him and tell him we were going to do this, but it was the only decision we could make under the circumstances. And we have to have Quinn for the playoffs, and we couldn't release anybody else. Everybody else is healthy and playing, and/or under contract or team control for next year in Patrick's case. And so this was the decision that we had to come to. It wasn't fun, but the main thing is that Omri is just a pro and a great teammate, and he handled everything beautifully last night. And it felt awful, but you have to do what you have to do.
When he was healthy, what did he show you overall?
He's a great cutter. He's a wonderful fit in our system. That's why we recruited him. When he was right, and when he got to start some games, when we had some injuries, he had some really good games for us. He's just a victim of circumstance more than anything.
Did you guys decide to do it yesterday because you guys are heading on the road and he's injured, and it just?
Yeah, we wanted to wait and see what happened last night. We were aware that there could still be other injury issues that might have changed the decision. So we wanted to wait as long as we could, but we also didn't want to bring him on the road and go through a game or two where it's like, this doesn't feel right either. There is no right answer on this. You just want to do it as respectfully as you can, and it felt like last night was the proper time for it.
Did you guys foresee Quinn accelerating as quickly as he has? I mean, we haven't had a chance to watch him day to day. I mean, just a few games that we have in the last 2 weeks.
Not like this. I don't think anybody could have foreseen him scoring 20-plus points a game multiple times, but we knew he could play. And we knew we were lucky when we got him on the two-way deal. We saw him last year in New Orleans and Dallas, playing at the NBA level. And I think he clearly is an NBA player. But what he did in the G League in Santa Cruz for us gave us a glimpse of, all right, if Steph does get hurt, he could fill in. And that's why we saved his days all season long. We hardly brought him up. You get 45 days with the two-way guys, and we saved them as much as we could in case of an injury to Steph. And we literally had to use every one of his days until the end of the regular season, the G League regular season, in order to be able to keep him. And he's been a godsend. He's been just awesome on and off the floor. So we're thrilled to have Quinn.
In retrospect, how thankful are you that the two-way contract was enacted this year, and given the injuries, where do you think you'd be without him?
Yeah, I don't know what we would have done without the two-way rule. And so we're, like I said, we're thrilled that we have Quinn. And this year was just so crazy with the injuries that had we not had the two-way, I really honestly don't know what we would have done.
Who are you thinking of starting at center?
It's a good question. More than likely Looney, but I haven't fully made up my mind yet.
You just like how Kavan does against these smaller lineups. It seems like you like his ability.
Yeah, when you've got shooters out there, I like the fact that Loon can get out and guard shooters, but also protect the rim. But we're going to meet here in a minute as a staff and make a final decision. What are you doing here, by the way?
Slater, can you see my?
What's up, Anthony? Where are you? Lazy, man, lazy. It's like, one trip. You can't go on the last trip.
Gotta be fresh for the playoffs, though.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't know journalists had to rest too, but it's. No, that's right.
Steve, it's not necessarily anything new to what you guys do, particularly when you guys go smaller when Draymond's at the 5. But
just the ability to switch as seamlessly as you do. So many people talk about your offense, but few teams can really replicate what you guys are able to do on defense. Houston has kind of moved to that sort of strategy over the last couple of years as well. But how big a part of that is, when you came in here, was just strategically, is that what you guys do, or how much of that is what you guys do?
Well, we knew we were going to do a lot of it just because of the composition of our roster. We had a lot of length with guys like Andre and Clay and Sean on the perimeter, and we didn't know Draymond was Draymond. We had no idea that he would be the key to sort of unlocking some of those lineups based on his ability to protect the rim and play the five. So it's a league-wide trend now. You can see everybody's drafting 6-7 guys who can guard multiple spots. But in order for it to work, you have to have the rim protector who can also get out and switch on pick and rolls. There's not many guys out there who can do that, but Draymond can.
Do you see that to kind of counteract, especially with Houston, the fact that half their shots are threes this year? Is that kind of the antidote to the idea that if teams are going to shoot all these threes, that you've got to have lineups that can kind of get out and be that versatile defensively?
Yeah, that's part of it. You have to guard more floor now than ever before. It's amazing. Sometimes I'll turn on like classic sports and I'll see Lakers Celtics in the 80s, some of the best games ever, finals games, and the game is played in this tiny little radius. And now it's way out on the perimeter. And literally back then you'd see 6 or 8 3-point shots taken, but almost every possession was you dump it into the post. You double, but everything's different. The rules are different. The talent is different. There's very few low post players in the league anymore, and so the league has adapted. Coaches have adapted, and things are ever changing, and you have to change along with that.
Speaking of rest, you are you in a unique position that as a player you've played several finals in a row, so the accumulation. What that feels like. How much does that experience as a player influence how you're kind of managing guys' health and rest?
It's
when you're doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's influenced everything I've done this year. I don't know if it's helped. I knew exactly what we were getting into, and I sort of brought it up with you guys, I think, many times in terms of the grind of the journey when you're trying to get back to the finals for the 4th straight year. There's a reason teams hardly do it. It's very difficult. Between the physical toll, but also the emotional one, and the journey just gets harder as you do it more often. It's less fresh, and so I anticipated this. I've tried to pace our group. I was hoping we'd be healthy the last 20 games, and that pacing them early would help, but obviously none of that really worked. But here we are, and we're a week away from the playoffs, and we've got a chance to do something really special. Got an unbelievably high character group in the locker room, guys who are really talented, and fingers crossed if we can be relatively healthy next weekend. We know we're not going to have Patty or Steph, but if everybody else is ready to roll, then I love our chances.
Steve, outside of the core players, there's a lot of guys who are going to be free agents this summer. I was wondering, how have you seen that play out through a team dynamic this season?
That's always a dynamic in every NBA season. It's something that you have to consider as a coach or in management. It might be good that a guy's a free agent. It might be bad. Sometimes that motivates guys. You never know, but you have to assess each individual player and understand his circumstances and help him through those circumstances. But our guys are pro, and they get it, and they're all working and competing, and whatever happens this summer happens.
Against Indiana, you kind of read on the riot act.
Yeah.
After New Orleans, you were kind and gentle.
Yeah.
Did that mean the riot act works?
I think it just shows who I am. I'm just all over the map. So, you guys are good. No, you stink. You know you're good. It's been that kind of a year for all of us, Marcus. So I think my main message is we've got to defend. We've got to get back to being a top 5 defensive team. I probably chose my words poorly in Indianapolis when I said they didn't care. That didn't mean that they didn't care. You know what I mean? What that meant to me was they didn't box out. They didn't get the passing lanes. They didn't compete at a high level. But when you say somebody doesn't care, that can be interpreted as maybe you're questioning their character. I think everybody knows how I feel about our guys. I love our guys, and they're an amazing group, and they're a championship group. So I probably chose my words poorly. But what I'm trying to remind our guys of is that in order to win in the playoffs, you better be defending at a high level. And for the most part this year, I think we have, but the last 8-9 games we have not. And it's not just that simple that you can flip the switch. And that's why I snapped. But you guys know me. I usually bring 2 clipboards a year. I yell at the team once. And so my quota is now used up.
And let them coach.
Would Kind and Gentle be the name of your memoir?
No. My wife would have the title for my memoir. She uses it on me sometimes at home. She says it's, to paraphrase a poem, I think it was a British poet, maybe in the 18th century. Beware the fury of a patient man. And she's right. I'm extremely patient. But sometimes the clipboard must break.
How is Patrick's progress coming along, Steve?
Patrick, I saw Patrick yesterday. It was good to see him up and walking. But, we're not even going to reevaluate him for a month. So he's nowhere close to playing. All right. Thank you, everybody.